Imagine paying thousands of dollars for a trip of a lifetime, only to spend most of it staring at a paper bag. That's the reality for many travelers who book the Cape Horn and Strait of Magellan cruise. It sounds epic, but often feels like a punishment. This is the one cruise route I hear about more than any other. The stories are not good. People dream of majestic glaciers, historic waterways, but the brochures don't tell you about violent seas, canceled ports, sheer exhaustion. This isn't a relaxing vacation, it's an endurance test. If you love unpredictable schedules, stomach-churning waves, paying for things you never get to see, then by all means, book it. For everyone else, let this be a friendly warning from your travel pal, Rick. The itinerary usually runs between Buenos Aires and Santiago, Valparaiso. It navigates some of the most treacherous and unpredictable waters on the planet. The main attraction is rounding Cape Horn. Its wild, untamed nature is exactly why it's a terrible cruise for many travelers. Cruise lines sell you on history and drama, but leave out the part where you might be stuck in your cabin for 3 days straight. It's marketing a difficult journey as comfortable and accessible. The core issue is a mismatch of expectations. You see sunny skies over pristine fjords, penguins waddling on shore. You imagine sipping a warm drink on your balcony as you glide past stunning landscapes. The reality can be dense fog, relentless wind, and waves so high the outer decks are closed for safety. A seasoned friend described 2 weeks of gray. The highlight was a slightly different shade of gray in the sky. It was a disappointing and expensive lesson. Geography doesn't bend to a cruise ship's schedule. So before you click book, let's take a good, honest look at what you're signing up for. This isn't about scaring you. It's about helping you travel smarter. Your vacation time is precious, and so is your money. My goal is to give you the real, on-the-water information you need to make a great decision. We'll break down the problems, from the infamous Drake Passage to crowded, rushed port calls. I want you to have a fantastic trip, even if that means choosing a different itinerary. Let's dive into why this dream cruise so often becomes a traveler's regret. The fundamental flaw of the South American Cape Horn cruise: it tries to package one of the world's most extreme maritime environments into a tidy, predictable tourist product. The itinerary is a battle against nature, and nature almost always wins. The route takes ships through the Drake Passage, a body of water between South America's Cape Horn and the South Shetland Islands of Antarctica. Ships are tossed around by waves that can easily reach 30 to 40 feet, making life on board incredibly uncomfortable, if not downright scary, for days at a time. This isn't just a little bit of rocking, it's a full-on multi-day storm experience. Another major issue is the timing. These cruises typically run during the Southern Hemisphere's summer from November to March. While this is the best time to go, best is a relative term. The weather in Patagonia and around Cape Horn is notoriously fickle year-round. A sunny morning can turn into a gale-force storm by the afternoon. This means the carefully planned itinerary you saw online is more of a suggestion than a promise. Captains are forced to make last-minute changes constantly. That beautiful fjord you were excited to see? The entrance is blocked by wind. That charming port town. The waves are too high to safely tender passengers ashore. The number of missed port calls on this route is exceptionally high. The ports themselves, even when you can reach them, are often not what travelers expect. Many are industrial towns or remote hubs rather than charming destinations. Ushuaia, Argentina, fascinating but a busy, functional city that can feel overwhelmed by 3,000 cruise passengers. The infrastructure isn't there. Long waits for buses, overcrowded shops, and a sense of chaos that detracts from the natural beauty. You spend a huge amount of time at sea, often cold, windy, gray days inside the ship. The cruise lines fill these days with activities, trivia, bingo, but they don't replace staring at a foggy, turbulent ocean for a week. The route is simply too long and too rough for a conventional cruise experience. Let's talk more about the seasickness, because it's the #1 complaint I hear. Even people who say, "I never get seasick," find their match in the Drake Passage. I spoke with a couple who had been on over 20 cruises and thought they were immune. On day 3, rough water. She spent 48 hours in bed, couldn't look at food. He saw half the dining room empty, others picking at crackers. Crew are steady as sailors while guests slide from side to side. It's not a fun or social atmosphere. You wake up excited, then hear the captain cancel the port due to high winds or unsafe conditions. On this route, it's regular. The Falkland Islands are frequently missed. Tendering is often impossible. Imagine traveling thousands of miles for penguins, only to get another day at sea. Kids in tears. Warning. Cape Horn scenic cruising is often a bust. You're miles offshore, foggy, rainy, windy, you can barely see the landmass. That dark smudge on the horizon over there is Cape Horn. It's a huge anticlimax after days of rough seas. This unreliability creates a domino effect. Staff add activities, but disappointment lingers. People complain, lines grow, the atmosphere gets tense. You also lose money on independent tours. Cruise tours get refunded, private guides don't. The financial and emotional cost stacks up, turning a dream into frustration. The ports on this route, Puerto Madryn, Punta Arenas, aren't equipped for a megaship's sudden crowd. The moment the gangway opens, the rush begins. Lines for tenders, lines for buses, lines for the 2 restrooms. It feels less like exploration, and more like a poorly managed evacuation. Common story. Ushuaia, Tierra del Fuego National Park. They waited 45 minutes to board, then drove another hour. Once there, they had exactly 90 minutes. Herded to a viewpoint, quick photo, rushed back. They spent more time in transit than in nature. Food becomes a friction. On rough sea days, specialty and main dining fill fast. The buffet turns chaotic. On shore, the few decent places are instantly swamped. Then another long cold line to get back on board. Security crawling. One person called it the sad, cold march back to the boat. These logistical failures chip away at joy. Processed, not privileged. Beyond weather and crowds, hidden logistical problems catch even experienced travelers off guard. Transfers at Valparaiso and Buenos Aires can be chaotic. If weather delays arrival, your driver may be gone. You start or end with a stressful, overpriced, confusing airport run. Hidden problem. Gangway and tender accessibility can be terrifying in a swell. In many ports you can't dock, you tender ashore on a small boat. Even moderate swells make the ramp steep and unstable. For mobility issues, or fear of heights, this can be dangerous. Some turn back and miss their only chance to go ashore. Cruise ads rarely say how demanding getting on-off can be. Another issue, extremely short time in some ports. Puerto Williams may sound full day, but long distances mean a 3-hour technical stop or just a pass-by. People get excited, then learn they won't even leave the ship. Always read fine print. A 7 a.m. 1 p.m. stop means maybe 4 usable hours after disembarking and reboarding. Warning, connectivity is nearly non-existent. Even pricey satellite internet can be slow, unreliable, or down. Don't plan on email, uploads, or reliable texts. For days, you're truly off the grid. Some love it. Others need to stay connected. It's stressful. They'll sell you a package, but can't guarantee it works when you need it. If you're determined to take it, here's how to mitigate the misery. First, pack serious seasickness meds. Don't rely on ginger candies. Talk to your doctor about prescription options like the Transderm Scop patch. Start meds before it gets rough. Book a midship, lower deck cabin, closer to the vessel's center of gravity. You'll feel less motion than a fancy bow-stern suite. Timing. Shoulders, Nav Mar, can be slightly calmer. Peak, Deck John, is busiest. To avoid disappointment, think of ports as a bonus, not a guarantee. The real destination is the journey. Dramatic seas, wild coastlines, the feeling of remoteness. Focus on lectures. Learn the region. You'll appreciate what you do see. Most practical tip, consider an alternative. For Patagonia, land-based is infinitely better. Bus and ferry between Chile, Argentina, see Torres del Paine, Perito Moreno Glacier. You control the itinerary for a deeper, more authentic experience. Sometimes the best fix is simply not taking this cruise. Shore excursions, where cruise lines make bank and travelers feel let down. Marketed as once in a lifetime. Penguin colony, glacier safaris, end of the world train, often hundreds per person for half a day. Reality, long rides to crowded spots, distant viewing windows. I heard one traveler paid $250 and spent the trip staring at the back of someone's head. You're on a conveyor belt, ship to bus to viewpoint and back. Travel tip, book reputable local operators, better value, real connection. Often a private tour costs the same as a spot on a big bus. Just leave plenty of time to return. After all these warnings, is there any reason to book this cruise? A qualified yes. If your main goal is to check the box of rounding Cape Horn, and you accept rough seas, missed ports, and crowds, a cruise is the most straightforward way. It can work for travelers with mobility limitations, no constant hotel changes, scenery from a floating home base. If you love the sea, navigation, weather, ship engineering, the Drake Shake can be a feature, not a bug. Daily updates on wave height and wind speed can be thrilling. Some even find the rocking soothing, but go in with eyes wide open. Be incredibly flexible. Your itinerary is at best a rough draft. If you're happy missing half the ports or spending days inside, watching storms, this trip might be for you. For the other 95% wanting reliable, comfortable, enjoyable travel where you see what you paid for, there are better options. There are far better ways to experience South America. So, we've navigated the stormy waters of the Cape Horn cruise. We've seen the marketing hype and the harsh reality. Core message: this cruise asks a lot, and often gives too little in return. It promises the adventure of a lifetime, but frequently delivers disappointment, discomfort, and a long list of what-ifs. It's fundamentally at odds with a relaxing, predictable cruise vacation. Patagonia's wild spirit doesn't fit a 14-day timetable. Trying to force it creates a flawed experience for most people. Your travel time and dollars are your most valuable assets. You work hard. You deserve enrichment, inspiration, and great memories, not regret. The idea is romantic. The reality is often frustration. High probability of rough seas, missed ports, and overcrowded rushed experiences means you're gambling with your vacation. There are many more reliable ways to have an amazing trip. Be an informed traveler. Look past glossy photos and flashy names. Read real reviews. Ask the hard questions. Is this right for my style? Am I prepared for worst case? Is there a better way to see this world? More often than not, especially in Patagonia, a well-planned land trip is richer, more authentic, and more enjoyable. Unless you have a stomach of steel, a zen-like tolerance for disappointment, and a deep love for the color gray, I strongly encourage you to steer clear of the Cape Horn cruise. Choose a journey that respects your time and investment. Choose an adventure likely to deliver on its promises. Travel is about joy, discovery, and connection, not endurance. If this helped, hit subscribe for brutally honest travel guides. Drop your questions below and tell me your toughest cruise. Happy travels.